So welcome everyone to our very first new recipe showcase. We're so excited to see all of you here and that you all participated and to see the recipes. We have 30 recipes all together. No, I think 31 actually in the showcase. So that's pretty impressive among 6 groups. So as you all know, with FoodSocial, I've had the chance to talk to all of you, which has been great this year. FoodSocial, we're really about community. We're about putting our creators first. You all are at the forefront of everything we do at FoodSocial. It's been such a joy to bring together like-minded brands and creators, especially in this capacity. And what's great is to know that you have the same things in mind as we do. We're all on the same page here. It's been really encouraging to see. So at our last town hall in May, many of you expressed a desire for collaborations between creators and brands, and that's how the summer series was born. So we put you all in groups, as you know, and we gave you categories based on what you were interested in, and we gave you very vague instructions, and we were like, go do something with this. And you all delivered, and you delivered in really beautiful ways. And it's been such a joy to see like your collaborations just come together, to see all your recipes coming together, to get to even work with you all through this as well, especially like this week as we've all kind of crammed all the work together this week. So that being said, while we're all presenting and talking through our creations, if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the chat and we'll field them so we can all ask each other questions. We want it to be a discussion. We want it to be really open and informal, so we can all just learn from each other and share about what we've done. So let's start with our gluten-free party appetizers group. So I know that includes Michelle, you from Back Porch Paleo, Haley from Primal Palate, and Jen from Predominantly Paleo and Legit Bread Company.
Okay.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about your menu and what it was like to work together? Go for it, Haley.
I'm going for it. Jen one day made this amazing baked brie. We like somehow turned into the cheese, the cheese collab group.
Cheese party of 4.
Yeah, the cheese party of 3, right?
Oh, right. So 4 recipes.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah, our menu is very cheesy, but so Jen made this delicious baked brie and she used our maple sugar, and she was like, I made baked brie. And I was like, okay, great. And then I messaged Michelle and I was like, I don't know what to make. Jen made baked brie. What do we do? So yeah, we just kind of settled on some appetizers and something fun for a party that would be easy and delicious. So we used all the recipes feature legit products and Primal Palate spices, and we have this baked brie which Bill and I actually made yesterday. And it is probably one of the most delicious things I've ever eaten. It tasted like, so it uses Jen's pizza crust and pretzel mix, and it actually tastes like a soft pretzel, like a sweet soft pretzel stuffed with gooey cheese.
Oh my gosh.
Darn it. Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, like Annie's pretzels at the mall, the sugary pretzel. It's what it tastes
so
like.
good.
Stuffed with gooey melty cheese. It's delicious. And then Michelle knocked out these amazing creamy Parmesan bites, which look absolutely beautiful. I would like to go to that party where those are being served.
Me too.
So Michelle, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So what this is, it's actually a riff on my pie crust mix, which I use for many things, not just pie crust. And so I have made crackers before, but with these, I did put some Parmesan cheese in the base of the crackers. it's obviously you can leave it out. I don't know if I've ever found a really good dairy-free Parmesan cheese, because that's a hard cheese, and I don't know that there's that option out there, but so you can leave them out. But the cracker itself has the garlic herb blend in it, or no, it has the meat and potatoes
Oh,
in
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
that's
cracker.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And
neat.
so then the topping is just, I used Kite Hill cream cheese. So you can use real, I'm not going to say real cream cheese. They're both real. Standard cream cheese, dairy cream cheese, or whatever, but mix that just with some mayonnaise. And I think I used the garlic herb blend in the cream cheese, and then just topped it simply with some roasted red bell peppers.
Yeah.
And
It looks amazing.
they're
Looks
just
so
really tasty bites, and you could prepare a lot of it ahead of time. The crackers can be baked ahead of time, the sauce, so
Did they come out real crispy?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to
Really
give those a try
flaky.
there.
Yeah. So anyways, they were delicious. We ate them all.
Well, they're beautiful and they look very, very tasty. And I will,
Thank you.
I definitely want to give those a try.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I made some 2 different types of appetizers. So this one is goat cheese and fig with honey and actually some balsamic and some fresh chives.
Mm.
So I grabbed a gluten-free baguette. You can get you could use a regular baguette if you want, or gluten-free, whatever you want to use. Or you could even do this on crackers. You could make Michelle's crackers and make both of these appetizers using the recipe for Michelle's crackers, which would be
Oh.
really fun.
That would be
Um,
tasty.
Yeah, so I sliced up a baguette, and I actually used one baguette for both of these and then just kind of split it in half. And I put them all on a baking sheet with like a cookie rack on top, and toasted the slices of baguette. And for the fig one, there's just some goat cheese on there, and then fresh figs, and then I did a drizzle of balsamic and some honey and some fresh chives, and then some flaky salt, which was lovely. And then for the salmon one of my absolute favorite meals of all time is an everything bagel with cream cheese and lox. And so I did a little spin on that, where I did cream cheese on the baguette, and then some smoked salmon, little slices of tomato. I did some cracked black pepper, and then I did some fresh green onion and some fresh dill. Kind of similar to what Michelle said with hers, with some modifications. You could also do the Kite Hill cream cheese style spread. I did regular cream cheese for these, but you could absolutely do the Kite Hill cream cheese, and the Kite Hill chive cream cheese would be really good. I think there's also an everything bagel cream cheese style spread that they make. So both of those would be fantastic on these as well. And I just think this whole menu all together is just so fun. You could pick and choose which ones you want to do for a party, but they were all, I didn't make Michelle's myself, but I think they're all, pretty easy to execute, nothing that you have to do a ton of prep for. Like Michelle said, hers could be made ahead of time. The baked brie, you really want to kind of have it come out of the oven right before you're serving, so that the cheese is all warm and melty. And then, depending on the baguette that you use, you just want to make sure that it's crispy and not like stale. So the appetizers that I made are ones that you kind of would want to make right before you're serving them, but they were still really easy to put together and came together really quickly. And I think that this menu just shows people that, you know, gluten-free can be really beautiful, decadent appetizers. It doesn't have to be like hummus and veggies or
Crudité.
crudité or, you know, like it can just be, you know, it can be really beautiful. It can look just like fine dining, full gluten appetizers. So we had a lot of fun with this one, and I think we should have a party, basically.
Yeah,
you know?
Something I really love is how you could easily mix and match between the appetizers. Like Haley, your comment about how you could use the like base from Michelle's recipe for your recipes. I think it's cool to have a menu like that where you can kind of tweak it or take some from one recipe and some from another. I love how you like noted that when you were talking about it.
You could even let people make their own appetizers. You could have the elements out, like the toasted baguettes, the crackers, and all the toppings, and you could let people assemble their own, you know, like an appetizer bar if you want.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. Kind of like having a cheese platter with crackers. You could, you know, have all of the toppings set out and just let people make, you know, what they want to make.
Good thing we didn't know.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing about that. I am officially hungry.
Yeah.
So Leslie, I would love to hear from your group. You had a summer picnic. Is Leslie still on here?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. So you all had a summer picnic, and it was you from, of course, Balanced Life Leslie, VG from It's Raining Green, and Real Fat Foods. And Leslie's here to talk about their menu.
Yeah, so for ours, for the summer picnic, we really wanted to keep it like simple, and everything that we featured can be served cold because you would obviously be traveling with it, and at a picnic unable to heat. So for mine, I did a pasta salad, and all of ours are really versatile. So for mine, you can use any pasta. It could be zoodles. I did artichoke heart linguine. You can do gluten-free or regular, you know, macaroni. So totally up to the chef's choice. I kept it vegetarian, and that way then if you're at a picnic, you can add in whatever protein someone else might be bringing. So if someone like ours, I think there's a meatball actually being served at our picnic by someone else. So that way you can put that meatball on top of the salad. So we just kind of wanted to keep it really shareable among the dishes. The next one is a BLT dip. It's made with the fat crumbs. So it's almond flour crackers. And this one, again, you know, able to feature other things that people might bring to a picnic. So like chips or the crudité. So we can all have some veggie sticks at our picnics. And then the final one is the meatballs with cilantro dips. This can be served, you know, on top of maybe like my pasta salad, or it can be served alone in a lettuce wrap, and something again that can be served cold with another dip. It does feature the breadcrumbs from Fat Foods. You can also use regular breadcrumbs as well. So we kind of wanted to share everything across our dishes.
I love that.
Good
I
try,
love
Leslie.
it. It sounds like you're all really thoughtful about how you piece together your menu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had fun. We just wanted to keep it really simple too.
And you're all on the same page too, which makes it even easier.
Yeah.
What do you
Leslie,
go ahead?
Where's your favorite place to go for a picnic around New York City?
So I live in like a unicorn place. It's called Peter Cooper Stuyvesant Town. It's 80 acres of green space in Manhattan. It's literally on 23rd Street, right where I grew up, but it is like a gated, it's not really private, but it's a gated park.
Yeah.
So literally outside my door, it's all green space. We had a concert last night in our area. Every Wednesday is a kids movie with cotton candy. It's like a unicorn place. But besides that, my parents live 10 blocks from here, and it's Washington Square Park. It's my favorite.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's right where I grew up.
New York City is so interesting to me because I studied landscape architecture many years ago, and just the design of public spaces in New York City is
It's
something
weird
that's
what we consider like like a park too. They could put like a little patch of green and we're like, oh, there's a park.
Yeah.
It's like one bench. But yeah,
Yeah.
you should really look up Stuyvesant Town. I think you'd be fascinated by it. It's an old war barracks. So Stuyvesant Town was for the soldiers and Peter Cooper was for the generals.
Yeah.
And now Stuyvesant Town is kind of like for NYU dorms.
Okay.
It's really interesting what they've done with the place. But it's such a huge community. So there's also like a school, there's a study lounge, we have our own cafe. Like there's probably like a month where I don't leave this community, like to go into the city unless I have to. And and by the city, I mean 1 block.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you
That's
drop
so
the name
cool.
of it in the chat, Leslie? Just so
Yeah,
someone-
absolutely.
That would be really fun to look at.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's literally 80 acres of green space
Wow.
on First Avenue.
Wow.
Wow.
It's insane.
I'm gonna
And
write
it's
that
literally,
down.
it's like right by Bellevue Hospital, NYU Hospital, like the city is right there. And we are in this private space.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very
And that
cool.
doesn't, now throwing back, how far back does that history go? Because I know like, didn't Central Park used to be Seneca Park back in the day?
Yep. So this is it. This used to be a farm, and it's named after Stuyvesant, who like literally
Yeah.
all of New York is probably named after. But it was a Dutch farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to click around. I love learning about culture and stuff.
Yeah. There's an old speakeasy a couple blocks from here, and there's literally like if you go into the basement, there's like a line that they have in the basement, which shows like some kind of Dutch farm border. It's so cool to see.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Cool.
Well, thank you for sharing about that.
Yeah.
We
So that's
got-
where I
we
picnic.
I would like to picnic there.
Our
Yeah.
other picnic spots suck.
Yeah. The rest of the city, not so great.
Well, speaking of picnic, the next group is a garden to table / plant-based party by GlutenFree from Masala Paleo, myself from AI Puja, and the new Primal. So GlutenFree, do you want to take the stage and tell us a little bit about the menu?
Yeah, sure. First of all, so great to be here. And I mean, just seeing everyone putting together these themes and recipes has been so much fun. I mean, everything looks amazing. Like I want to have an appetizer only party at home and I want to go on a picnic. And I'm sure the pizza, I'm really excited about the pizza one that's coming up. That was like, had me drooling. So on our theme was garden to table, and generally garden to table means you're trying to grow your own food, produce, and then using it to make dinner. I used to have a vegetable garden, and not me, my husband, because I have a black thumb, like I kill all plants. But he had a green thumb, and we tried growing vegetables, just a little, fun fact behind this. And we actually were able to grow quite a bunch, but the squirrels and the bunnies, like we were not able to beat them. We tried for 2 years and they ate up everything. And then my husband actually built a whole like a cage-like structure. It was pretty legit. But then we gave up. We were like, we don't have the time to do this. We would have loved to do it. But how we kind of interpreted it is, even if you're not growing the produce yourself, we wanted to make like fresh summer produce the star of this entire party. So we've used a lot of fresh, vegetables and fruits. And given that it was plant-based, we wanted to incorporate plant-based protein. So there's beans, there's split peas, there's edamame. So we've tried to balance it out that way. So I want to give a special thanks to Pooja because she jumped in to our group even when it was not planned last minute, and she came up with this really yummy, bean dip that she'll talk about. And also Pri, who is actually, she's going through a lot of sickness at home, and she still managed to kind of come up with this really amazing drink, which she'll talk about. So, I mean, this all came together kind of last minute, but I'm really glad it came together. So Pooja, do you want to talk about your dip, and then we'll kind of go in that order?
Sure. Yeah. So GlutenFree messaged me earlier this week, and unfortunately, their group member had to bow out at the last minute due to something familial, I think. And so we just chatted, and I kind of looked through my pantry. I was like, I can contribute this. So we just kind of came up with it. I feel like we came up with it together because we were messaging a lot back and forth this week, but I made this delicious citrus herb white bean dip. I don't do great with like a lot of sesame, and so I thought I would come up with a hummus inspired dip, but instead of sesame seeds, use cashews in its place. And obviously it's not true hummus because it doesn't have chickpeas in it. So yeah, I came up with this dip. I incorporated the new Primal's citrus herb seasoning. I am sensitive to nightshades, so that's one of their seasonings that I can have, and it made it really like zesty, and I incorporated some fresh lemon juice and zest and some basil to just give it that extra note of freshness and kind of boost that seasoning blend even more. So it's creamy and it's delicious, and it tastes really similar to hummus. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Zoe's, which Kava took over Zoe's. It was like a
Yes, I love
Mediterranean
Zoe's
place.
and I love kava too.
I loved Zoe's, and their basil hummus was like my favorite thing ever. And this tastes like that. So happy about that.
Beautiful. Love it.
So there's cashews and white beans then?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Yum. I just packed some white beans out of my pantry.
Looks
Pooja,
so
this one might save me money because Kava is way too close to my house right now, and we are there way too frequently. So this is good for me.
You're welcome.
Pri, you want to talk about your drink? And then I'll kind of go into the mains.
Sure, I'll do that. Sorry, I have the sexy voice. Right now. We're all down with COVID at home,
Oh
so
my God.
Wow.
Ugh.
And you still did this?
Yeah.
yeah. So
Pretty.
She's a rock
Thanks for
star.
being here.
Oh, I have to try this drink, Pri. I saw you post this and I'm like,
yes,
it sounds so good.
it's so good. You have to try it. It's
Oh.
basically a street food kind of thing. So
Yeah.
usually you will find it on the streets of India. It's
Mhm.
called the Kooky Serbat, which is kind of like a sweet drink which you shake up. So that's Indian way of making a mocktail, I guess. So this one has chia seeds, fresh pineapple, mint leaves, and spicy green chilies in it.
Mm.
And it's like a fancy way of having your lemonade and something for a patio party or just a lazy summer afternoon. And kids' favorite too, you can totally de-seed the chilies and it would be, you just get the flavor out of it, but still even kids can have it. So it's
Do
a
you
very
use
delicious.
jalapenos or green chilies? Like,
You can use either, doesn't matter. Depending on your spice level, you can tolerate, you can have it with seeds or without seeds.
okay.
Totally your call. Yep. And very easy to make and kids' favorite too. The funny part is I have the whole house down with COVID. So I made this and none of them actually got to drink it. So when I was showing them the video today, they were like, when did you make this? And can we have it? I'm like, and who drank it? I'm like,
Great.
okay, guilty.
Pri, do the chia seeds make it like a thicker consistency?
No, you just use a spoon or a tablespoon, depending on how much you can tolerate. If you're not tolerant to textures, you can totally skip the chia seeds, or else if you love chia seeds, you can go as much as you want.
Interesting.
It actually adds so much of character to it.
Mhm.
Originally, the recipe calls for basil seeds. So in India, basil seeds are very common, and they by themselves they're cooling in nature. So they are used in summer drinks so that they can cool you down during summer weather. But here I have used chia seeds, but if you find basil seeds, you can totally use it. And even for parties, this will just like be an amazing drink to surprise your guests.
It's so pretty.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's so unique too.
Yeah.
Can you use canned pineapple or is it's probably best with fresh pineapple, but could you
It
use
is, yes, my pineapple wasn't actually ripe enough, so that's why I use the pineapple, but usually I make it only with a fresh pineapple.
Sure.
And when you cut the pineapple, whatever juice comes out of it is what I usually use for flavoring it.
Oh,
Nice.
yum, 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 yum.
Beautiful. And I love this photo. You took it at the perfect angle where you have just, you probably saw me zooming in, but you have like the perfect amount of gloss on the lemon and the drink that just it makes it look so refreshing. So
Mhm.
I love chia seeds in
Me
drinks.
too.
I used to always get the chia kombuchas.
oh
Mhm.
yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
Those were good.
I definitely want to try this.
Yeah, love.
Excellent. Yeah. You go ahead, Dee, now,
Right.
before I go into my coughing.
I'm so glad you could join. So the next recipe, which is kind of the main, are these vegan split pea burgers. And honestly, the inspiration is from a split pea nugget that Pri made a couple of months ago. We were looking at a plant-based kind of version of the burger without black beans, because that's usually what most vegan people get. So I wanted to do something different. So Pri had made, you get these yellow dried split peas. You could get it at Whole Foods or Amazon or wherever. And once you soak them overnight or for 8 hours, you basically just grind them with like some of the other spices. And in this case, I added broccoli, I added mushrooms to kind of get in those vegetables and some additional flavors and textures, and a few spices. And I assembled them on lettuce. You could do it on a bun. And I basically used the new Primal's buffalo sauce, which I love, to kind of give it that flavor. It gives it a really nice kick and like some really good flavor without you having to like whip up something. So again, we were looking at simple recipes, which had a lot of fresh fruits and veggies. So this is kind of our main. You could also, like, the one thing that really went well was avocado slices on it, in addition to what's in the picture.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Looks delish.
And this is also Whole30 compatible, because split peas are Whole30 compatible now. So it can actually be had during a Whole30 as well.
On the plant-based one, right?
No, the regular one too. The
Regular
split
one
peas
too.
are,
How did I miss
compatible on the
that?
regular.
Okay,
Yeah.
I missed it.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then the final one is this like really simple salad. I was just focusing on getting in as many colors as I could. So there's, I use spinach, you could use arugula, purple cabbage. I used oranges, apples, tomatoes, and then finally topped it with steamed edamame, and used like this really simple lemon tahini dressing for it. Kind of gives it that creaminess and the tanginess. And the final kind of flavor pop there was the everything bagel seasoning from the new Primal, which I think really elevated it, gave it a little bit of a crunch. So yeah, that's how the salad kind of came together. So together, this menu was, again, like I said, we were thinking plant forward. It ended up being plant-based. So you can always add some other protein on it if you want on the salad. And, you can easily convert it to something which is just plant forward.
So cool.
These are wonderful.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Also, shout out to Dee for throwing that salad together at the last minute. So
Yes.
we all kind of stepped up to the plate for this menu.
Yeah.
this week. So we're a rock star. We would be messaging back and forth, and she, would be like, "Do you think you can do this?" And an hour later, Dee would be like, "It's okay, I already took care of it." She would have like photos, a reel. She would have everything done.
Wow.
I
Process
kind of
photos.
operate well under pressure. Unfortunately, not always good for my nerves, but I do my best work under pressure, is what I figured out.
I think
It's
a lot
so
of people,
colorful.
a lot of people in this group work well under pressure. I think a lot of these
Yes.
came together in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for sharing about this and putting it together. Next up is, as Dee mentioned, the long-awaited summer pizza party.
Yeah.
So this is from Michelle from Back Porch Paleo and Bill from Primal Palate. So take it away.
Take it away, Bill.
You go, Bill.
Oh,
Well, Michelle was going to present.
Okay.
Although
Either way.
I'm 100% comfortable with doing it too, so we can
Okay, well-
we can co-present.
Yeah. Well, if this is the first one listed, is this the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know behind the scenes, we have, this is not paleo in the slightest, I will say that, but we ventured into the wild yeasted sourdough about a little over 2.5 years ago. We attended a local sourdough class here where we all left with a starter, and found out during the class that you can make a dough and put it in the fridge and let it ferment for 3 to 5 days. And by that time, the bacteria has essentially consumed up to 97% of the gluten that's in there that makes it really hard to digest. And so it's easier to digest, and we have been tolerating it really well. And so we have moved slowly into trying a lot of different things with the sourdough starter. This being, we just started the pizza craze this summer. So when Bill mentioned sourdough pizza, I'm like, yeah, we're doing that. And it's nothing I've chatted a lot about on Instagram, because there's still paleo police out there, even though they technically don't exist. But for us, we didn't even know it was called paleo when we started, when my daughter McKenna was so sick. But it was never like we decided we're going to be lifers. We wanted to heal and move forward and go with what worked for our bodies. And we know that based on colonoscopies and blood draws and readings, we know that inflammation markers have not been impacted by this, because we're very careful about fermenting the dough. And, so anyways, this is a really simple, it's a super gateway into sourdough adventuring, if you want to call it, because the dough is really just 4 ingredients. And I like to think that this is the way bread used to be made. And it was in its simplest form. And we always use organic all-purpose flour, because that means that no glyphosate has been used in the processing of it. Yeah. And there's a lot of studies showing that glyphosate is actually causing a lot of the inflammation in our foods. So basic 4 ingredients, super simple. And then this is kind of a riff on one of the recipes in our cookbook, because we have a grilled Hawaiian pizza, which I can talk about whenever that one comes up.
Oh, we can go there now.
Okay, so this is one from our book. And so this is a cassava flour, gluten-free crust. And it's obviously a thin crust pizza. You could use the whole recipe and make one bigger thick crust pizza if you want. But this one is, you can either cook it on a grill pan, you can grill it out on the grill. In our little townhouse, our grill is in storage. I do not have an outside grill, which is really sad, because we love to grill pizza in the summer. That's how we enjoy pizza. And we're going to get a pizza oven like Bill and Haley have after we move. We didn't want to move one more thing, so we're just waiting. So this is a grilled Hawaiian pizza. And so for the sourdough, it's just really a riff on the same idea. The only difference on the sourdough one is there's no oil in the recipe of the dough. And so I like to brush avocado oil around the crust and then sprinkle furikake, which is a Japanese condiment of sesame seeds and often dried shrimp. Anyways, some people love it. My son-in-law is half Japanese, so we lean heavy into the Japanese condiment era. But it just gives it a really nice, I like crust, and so it gives the crust a nice flavor. So, and the pineapple sauce,
so good.
The pineapple sauce is something new that's not in our book. But we recently enjoyed a Hawaiian pizza here at a local gluten-free pizza place. And instead of pineapple on their Hawaiian pizza, they did a pineapple sauce so that you get more pineapple in every bite.
Oh, neat.
So I just whipped up some pineapple and juice and cilantro, and I think it's delicious. But anyways, so there you go.
On your sourdough one, I want to call something out. You said that the elephant in the room was that it was sourdough, but I beg to differ. I think the elephant in the room is that you've put the pineapple on the pizza. That's more polarizing.
I know people either love it or you hate it. And my husband and I love Hawaiian pizza. That's just our favorite. And so now it's the elephant in the room, because Back Porch Paleo should not have a gluten pizza, but we do. And that's just authentically, we've healed a lot in 8 years and our bodies tolerate it. And you know, we're just going with it. So
Yeah. Well,
I love that you're able to do that, that you can kind of pivot with the diet and change things up based on how you've healed and share about it. And that's really amazing. And it looks so good. And I personally like pineapple on pizza and in rice.
oh, I said that with non-judgment. Only that people are polarized on it, and I actually think that's hilarious.
I know Bobby Flay hates pineapple on pizza, but that's on him.
I
I think it looks amazing.
I had a roommate in school who put pineapple chunks in her pasta sauce, and that weirded me out.
Oh.
Oh,
It
I
was
draw
like,
the line at that.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
no for me.
yeah.
that was like her thing. Like she was very proud of her pasta sauce that had. She was like, "Yeah, I put pineapple in it," and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll
I
do
don't
that.
know.
Cool.
But I'm all about like people having their food preferences. Like as long as it doesn't harm me, I'm just like, sure, you can
Yeah.
put pineapple in your pasta sauce.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been surprised to like stranger things than that, I think, which we don't need to go into here, but that's the interesting part about doing this group with Michelle is that we both decided to sort of have our gluten pizzas, you know, in the spotlight here. And so this is one that I did, and I had been waiting for an opportunity to make a pizza with real wheat flour for a long time, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity. And I thought people were going to be really upset that we had shared this and shown it, and turned out nobody cared. Like nobody batted an eye. So it shows that people sort of have an evolution. And like Michelle, this technique here is a double fermented poolish. Poolish is like a pre-ferment, like a starter essentially. And I used a Caputo type 0 flour. It's their Caputo Nuvola flour. And the combination of using an Italian, like European flour, and the double fermented, this was actually, you know, I would never have known that this was a gluten containing pizza because I felt totally fine. And that's not always the case when I have normal like gluten containing foods. So I was really pleasantly surprised. And we actually did this pizza night with Tony and Justine, who are on this call viewing. They got to partake in this too. But we made several different pizzas in our uni, our wood-fired pizza oven outside. Michelle, if you do get an uni, I would probably lean towards the propane one. It's just a
That's what McKenna has. Yeah.
little easier to manage. Yeah, now that you mention it, we spoke about that before.
Yeah.
But this is nice, and I like it.
Yeah.
And so we made several different toppings here. We did more of like a margarita style, and then Haley actually helped make this this white style pizza too, and we did a pepperoni as well. There's the white one here, which
Yeah, that was really good. So for that one, I did more dairy. I did in a little saucepan, I cooked some butter and cream with a clove of fresh garlic that I pressed. So it made this really nice garlic sauce, and it got a little thick. And I used that as the sauce for the pizza. And then I did feta and a little bit of mozzarella and some Parmesan, and did sliced mushrooms and zucchini and red onion and our garlic and did I do our amore?
the amore is in the photo, but I
Yeah.
can't remember which one it was.
I think I asked Uncle Tony which one I should do, and he picked
amore.
Amore.
Yeah.
I think I said, should I do garlic and herb or should I do amore? And I think
Yeah.
Uncle Tony picked.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
And then we made this gluten-free pizza too. And so this actually uses another Caputo product. They have a gluten-free flour that has a blend of, I think it's like a gluten-removed wheat flour with a couple other gluten-free starchy sort of things in it too. And for anyone that's strictly gluten-free, this is another really good option. You can see that the dough balls fermented and produced some air. These are like the spices that I was using for the pizzas. For the Diavolo, which is like a spicy pizza, I was using our crushed red pepper flakes with the oregano. You can also use the amore in the sauce too. But these puffed up really nice too, and I did these on a steel in the oven. And so Lodge has like their version of a baking steel, which delivers a lot of heat to the bottom of the pizza and helps you get that sort of airy crust. And so that was kind of the hook of this project. It was 5 different pizzas, 5 different ways, and we didn't get to the fruit pizzas, at least not yet. But it was sort of an interesting prompt that we were going to make 5 different crusts and use 5 different cooking methods for them too.
Well, these fruit pizzas are really just at most of our family celebrations, rather than birthday cake or a cake, our kids always liked fruit pizza so they could make their own. And so we'd make little individual 4-inch, and these are just these are from the book. They're a cassava flour sugar cookie, and then again with the Kite Hill cream cheese frosting, and then just toppings of choice. And we again make the cookies ahead of time and the cream cheese frosting and fruit toppings, and let people just make their own. But this is, we can call it a fruit pizza, you can call it a sugar cookie, whatever, we call it fruit pizzas. But it is hands down something we as a family always enjoyed for celebrations and for graduations or whatever. So in fact, we served them at one of my daughter's wedding receptions, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
I can't remember, but we let people kind of assemble their own at the reception. We had a bunch of cookies done, and so.
Michelle, can you come cater my wedding reception?
Oh,
Of course.
Well, it was I will say personally, it's just an absolute pleasure working with you, Michelle. We do a lot of brand collabs and spec photography for books and stuff like that, but as like a personal creator to creator collab, it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed working with you.
Oh, well, same. It's you and Haley go way back for us, between Primal Palette, Zen Belly, Nom Nom Paleo, and Danielle Walker. You 4 were like our gateway into knowing that our life was going to be okay.
Oh, jeez.
Well, because back then we didn't know we were doing paleo. We just knew McKenna was sick. Here's what we're doing. And then as we got into the social media aspect of it, we just knew we were going to be okay, because with all the books, we're like, we can do this, we can do this. And so I have, the Gather, Make It Paleo 1, 2, they're just, so it's, Primal Palette means a lot to our family. So there you go.
Thank you.
FoodSocial, we're just one giant love fest over here.
I know. Well, we can all use that, can't we?
I always
Yeah,
tell Michelle
definitely.
I'm moving in.
Yeah. And
Want to
now
move in with her.
I'll have more room for anybody who wants to come visit, because in this little townhouse, we're just kind of no room, but
Problem solved.
yep.
We'll take you up on that. First
Please do.
FoodSocial retreat will be at your new house.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So next we have our Whole30 compatible brunch. So this was done by Penny from Penny's Primal, Haley from Real Food with Altitude, and Reed from Pesto and Potatoes. So unfortunately, Reed can't join us. He's in Croatia living his best life right now. But Penny and Haley, do you want to tell us about your menu?
yeah. So our starter was brunch. And so then we kind of branched off and wanted to make it a Whole30 compatible brunch, because we felt like that was something that's sort of missing, is when you're doing a Whole30 is like these parties and being able to go to all these things. And so we wanted to create a menu that would satisfy people both on a Whole30 and not. So before we get into the recipes, we kind of had some tips of like how to plan this party, quote unquote party.
which was
Party.
to make a mocktail, which people then can either add alcohol if they want, but it's also sufficient by itself, which I think is really cool because not everyone wants alcohol, especially first thing in the morning. And so Reed came up with a cucumber jalapeno cooler, which sounds delicious. I actually really want to make this. And I can get into that recipe in a minute for him. But then we wanted to create the mains and then create aspects of the meal that are more than eggs and can satisfy people who are not doing a Whole30, because if you aren't and you're coming to this brunch party, you might expect things like bagels, or I added like a yogurt parfait or things like that that aren't necessarily Whole30 compatible, but still a part of brunch. And so then we picked our sides to go with the mains and wanted to have one dish that everyone could share. So that was kind of our thoughts behind creating this Whole30 brunch party. And so to get into the cucumber jalapeno cooler, which is Reed's recipe, so I'm sure I will not do this justice for him, but it was English cucumbers, jalapenos, lime, sparkling water, and then you can top it with jalapenos as well. And so to me, it sounds like a spicy margarita, which I'm always in for. And so, but to make it non-alcoholic, I think it was a great idea just to have this at the party, because it also sounds very refreshing to me. And like I said, I really want to make this sometime soon. And then
Mocktails are like adult juice for me. Like
Yeah.
it's basically juice, but we can actually drink it as adults. I love it.
Right. And so, and these are Penny's couple of recipes, so I'll let you go, Penny.
So I made a mushroom shallot quiche, and I also made a sun-dried tomato, Tuscan frittata. I brought the eggs to the party, and one has the Tuscan frittata has sun-dried tomatoes in it and some ground chicken, and I seasoned it up with the Primal Palette Amore. It has mushrooms in it and onions and baby spinach. So I love that. I love dishes that have everything there, your meat, your vegetables, and heavy on vegetables. And this is so easy and so quick. It's basically you start it in the pan and cook up some of the stuff in the pan and then put that pan right in the oven and it's done. And it's always a big hit. I love that it can be for 3 meals, really. I mean, sometimes I'll serve it for dinner with another salad on the side and it just disappears. It's hearty, it's filling, it's nutritious. We just love it. And the mushroom and shallot quiche is kind of a take on a quiche because obviously there's no crust, keeping it Whole30. I used hash browns to make a nice crispy base for it, and then put everything in and turned it into the quiche with some mushrooms. And the mushroom and the shallot together is just such a great combination. And I put some diced ham in this to put a little bit more protein. And it's just a real simple, fun dish. And everybody loves this too. It's nice to serve it with some fruit on the side, or again, even another nice spring salad. And it just really goes. I never have any leftovers.
Okay, now for the not Whole30 compatible ideas. So like I said, you can always do like a bagel bar or things like that. But I decided to make this dairy-free yogurt parfait, which of course you can make with full dairy yogurt as well. But I really like the either Kite Hill or the Forager dairy-free yogurt. Those are my 2 favorites. And then I top it with whatever, this has strawberries and raspberries, but whatever's in season for berry wise, I will put on top of this. And then I top it with pumpkin seeds and paleo granola, which I like the Autumn's Gold granola. And again, you can use whatever granola you like, whether it's paleo or not. And then like I said,
not Whole30 compatible. I like to leave in the bar form, which we were talking about with the appetizers. And so the bagel bar, the dairy-free yogurt bar, so people can kind of make their own parfaits, I think is a really easy way to please a lot of people. And then let's see, I think Reed's was next. Yeah. So that he made a delicious looking side, which was roasted asparagus with shredded eggs. It looks like shredded cheese on top. So when he posted this, I actually thought it was that. But it is hard-boiled eggs, which I thought was very interesting and goes perfect with brunch. So it's asparagus, and then there's a sauce with extra virgin olive oil, Dijon mustard. I think he used the New Primals Dijon mustard, and lemon, salt, and then black pepper as well. And then of course the hard-boiled eggs shredded on top, which I have not seen this type of recipe before. So I am looking forward to trying this one as well. Apparently I just need to go to Reed's house because I want to try all of his recipes.
The shredded eggs were a trend on TikTok. Like people were making boiled eggs and shredding them. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm just so intrigued by it.
Me too.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've done it on salads. It's incredible. It really is.
Yeah, there's a name for it too, because I posted a couple years ago about trying that through a fine mesh sieve, and I thought it's like egg snow. And then someone said, oh, it's like a throwback to the 50s or 60s, like there's some name for it, and I can't remember what it's called. But yeah,
it looks good though. I
Yeah,
do want to try that trend.
yeah.
And then for our kind of big platter that you can use it like when people get there that they can pick at, or that they can again create themselves. I made loaded breakfast fries, and this kind of goes back to if you have seen my page, not recently but a while back ago, I was making a lot of potachos, and so I was making chips out of potatoes and air frying them and just putting everything on them. And it's something I like to do on Sundays because it's easy just to throw like all your leftover veggies on top or whatever you have left in the fridge for the week on top. So that was kind of the idea behind these loaded breakfast fries, is that you can have whatever veggies you have in the fridge and just cook them up and throw them on top. So I put baby bella mushrooms, green peppers, red onions, some turkey bacon, and you can top it with eggs, or you can leave the eggs off if you've had enough eggs with Penny's quiche and frittata, and asparagus. So you also don't have to put eggs on here unless you want to, and then top it with your favorite hot sauce as well. And these are really easy to make in like a sheet pan form.
That's so cool.
I think it looks delish. You could even do poached eggs ahead of time and then ready to go and just warm them up and put them on top.
Yeah.
Do shredded eggs on that too, so it's like cheese.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is the idea.
Yeah. Very yummy. Very yummy.
Thank you so much for sharing all about that. That looks, I'm sufficiently hungry now.
I know.
All right, our final menu is this Asian inspired grill menu. This was made by Jean from What Great Grandma Ate and myself from AI Puja. Jean is a Korean recipe creator. Not all of her recipes are Korean inspired, but a lot of them are. And something that was really special for the two of us, we had like the grill theme, and Jean can't be on the call today, unfortunately, so I'm taking over for us. But we were talking about doing like some kind of grill theme, and as we were trying to like kind of narrow it down a little bit, we were like, what if we do an Asian inspired theme? Like, we are both, surprise, I'm Asian. We're both Asian, and it would be so cool to come up with a menu inspired by like flavors from our backgrounds. So we came up with appetizers. What else? I don't even remember what all we came up with. Okay, let's just start from the beginning. Thanks, Bill. So our appetizers, we started with kimchi deviled eggs. So this is Jean's recipe. What's cool is on this menu, we have some recipes that are more like
Pretty.
Inspired by our backgrounds, or we have more like traditional inspired recipes. And then we have recipes like these that are more fusion, which is fun because we both grew up in the US. So Jean lived in Korea, South Korea until she was 7 and then moved to the US. So most of her upbringing has been here. So it kind of showcases both of the cultures that we grew up in to have like more of these fusion recipes. So kimchi deviled eggs by Jean. They look so good. Next we have these mushroom tikka skewers. So I made these, and there's this, so when you think of like tikka, typically people think of tikka masala. Things like chicken tikka masala, they're not actually traditionally Indian. Chicken tikka masala was there's speculation that it was actually invented in England. Chicken tikka is from India, and paneer tikka is from India, and those are without gravy. They're actually dry. And it's about how they're made, the flavors and the way that they're made. And so this has the flavors of, there's this restaurant that we went to growing up in not growing up in India. Every time I go back to India, there's this restaurant we go to, and they have this really delicious paneer tikka, and it like melts in your mouth, and it's like smoky, and the flavor is just unbeatable. And the flavor of these mushrooms really reminds me of that. So you cook them in like a yogurt.
Can I interrupt you, Pooja? Is tikka, is that a method to cook or is it a flavor?
It's kind of both. So it is a type of flavor, but it is about the method as well. Thanks for coming, Dee. It was so good to have you here.
Hi, Dee.
Bye, Dee.
Bye.
Yes, but the tikka masala is great, like the gravy part of it. So if you just see tikka, that's like, it should be dry. So these are soaked in a yogurt. They're marinated. You can make the yogurt marinade a day or two in advance. And then just as I was preparing the skewers, so mushrooms, like they have so much moisture in them that you don't want them to sit in the marinade for too long. So I just like toss them in the marinade as I'm like right before I skewer them. So cut them in half, toss them in the marinade, and then skewer them, and then brush a little extra on top. But these are so good. They seriously, you have to try them. They're so good. So
does the type of mushroom make a big difference in flavor? Like, could you use the small cremini or white button, or?
I prefer the like darker white button isn't my favorite, but like small cremini would be totally fine. I use baby bellas for these, but you don't have to. But yeah, you can use whatever you have on hand.
Yum. Okay.
Wow.
Sorry to keep interrupting, but
no, I love it.
It's so good.
So this one is an homage to Rajiv, my fiance. He is half Chinese, and this is similar to, I'm not going to call it, it's similar to like a char siu chicken. So it's like that barbecue Chinese chicken type flavor.
Oh my goodness, just squirted.
That
char.
This right here.
Yeah, there it is.
Let's just live there.
It is. Yep.
Just live there for a minute.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I want to live. Build a house, raise a family right there.
Yeah. Put on Zillow.
This is like his favorite thing that I make. So I marinate the chicken usually overnight, or even just for an hour, and then I throw it on the grill and smoke it, skin side down for most of the time, and then flip them at like the last minute or last like 10 minutes. Flip them to get the little char on the bottom, and they're really incredible. Easy, so good.
And those are chicken thighs, right? Yeah.
But I use the same marinade on wings. I've done wings the same way. You could do chicken breasts the same way. Obviously, they won't cook for as long, but it's a pretty foolproof marinade. I use it on everything.
And can I just say something? I'm just looking at the ingredients. Wow, I'm totally making it, because all I got to do is instead of the honey, use dates.
Yeah.
Pureed dates, and I can make this recipe Whole30. It looks so good.
And you could leave out the rice wine. It does help with the flavor, but you
can have rice wine. You
can have rice wine vinegar.
Well, rice wine vinegar, yeah.
But I would not add 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. If you're doing the vinegar, I would put a little less. But yeah, they're so good.
So legit.
So now, this is Jean's recipe for Korean barbecue short ribs, or kalbi. She schooled me on how to correctly pronounce things before this call.
I wouldn't have pronounced it that way.
Me
Yeah.
either.
So yeah, it's kaibi. And what's interesting is nowadays, like when you go to Korean barbecue, you tend to see these and they're more normalized as like they see more every day, but they're actually typically eaten on special occasions. So it's more of like a celebratory food. And so it was cool to talk with Jean about that. And she's told me usually like at like different times of year for like big celebrations or big days like this, that's when they eat kaibi. But here, like we don't really know that because if you go to Korean barbecue, we went to Korean barbecue last weekend actually, and kaibi was on the menu and you just don't even think about it.
Hot tip. You're doing it wrong if you use utensils. I love that.
All right, next up is this garam masala grilled asparagus. I use the Primal Palette garam masala because it's actually my favorite that I found. High praise coming from an Indian. And I love that it's nightshade free as well, because as I mentioned, I'm sensitive to nightshades. But this is just really easy. You just toss the asparagus in garam masala and some other goods and grill it. So delicious, nice and earthy, but not too, it has just enough to where you can taste it, but it doesn't like punch you in the face with flavor. Like you can still taste the asparagus, which I like.
Yum.
Next is this Asian coleslaw salad. So this was another kind of more of a fusion recipe. It's not specifically Korean, but it has a lot of those Asian inspired flavors. Jean was talking about how she almost wanted to call it Chinese, but she was like, I don't quite want to because it's more Asian inspired than it is like of a certain country. So yeah, this is her coleslaw salad. This might be, it's either from her blog or from her cookbook. It might be from her cookbook. Yeah, it's from her cookbook.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. It's really colorful. It just looks, I love salads with like texture, and you can tell from the cabbage and the red bell pepper and the peanuts that like there's just such good texture going on in that salad.
Yum.
Now we're on to desserts. These red bean popsicles, Jean made these, and this is really special because she has specific like childhood memories associated with these red bean popsicles. Red bean is a common in a lot of like East Asian countries, or in Asian countries, like red bean is commonly used in desserts. It's a specific type of red bean, which we call for in the recipe, the adzuki beans. And she has memories as a kid in Korea. Her mom would give her like each neighborhood around each house, there's like a corner store, and every week or every couple of weeks, you know, her mom would give her like a dollar or two, be like, go to the store, get whatever you want. And frequently this was her treat of choice. And so getting to recreate that recipe for this, I think was really special for her, and getting to share that with Joey, her daughter. So
It looks so interesting.
They look so creamy.
So intriguing. Yeah. Just love it. And this one. Yum.
So this is the grilled mango lassi. So mango lassi is a pretty popular Indian drink. It's at a lot of restaurants. You can find it in from street vendors in India. Very refreshing, very like yogurt forward. I actually use a little less yogurt in this. I don't like mine super like tangy, but I just wanted to put a fun twist. So this was like my more fusion-y recipe. I put a twist on the mango lassi to use grilled mangoes, and you can taste it. It's like slightly smoky, but it still has those classic flavors.
I've been saying that wrong. It's not lassi, it's lassi.
Yeah, it's lassi.
Okay, this is good to know, because we have a mango lassi, what I thought was lassi in our book, but it's clearly mango lassi.
Yes, that's and I mean, yeah, but that's how we say it, is lassi.
Okay.
So it's so delicious. It's really creamy. We finished it it makes a pretty good sized batch, but it lasted like I think 2 days in our house because we just couldn't stop drinking it. But it's just refreshing, but it's also filling. And it has a little bit of honey, but like not a ton, because the caramelizing the mango just brings out so much natural
Oh.
sweetness.
Yeah.
So it's delicious. And I recommend giving a little squeeze of lime before you take a sip because it was even better that way.
You should be an ambassador for your Traeger because
I know.
everything you
Oh,
everything you made is cooked so perfectly.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It wasn't when I first started.
Well, you're a quick learner. Last
And
one.
Yes, finally, our final dish is this Korean ginger cinnamon punch, which is sujangkwa. Also, Jane taught me how to say that. Could be butchering it, would never know. But this is also a special occasion drink. So this isn't one that they have all the time every day. It's like a seasonal. It like they might have it in the winter. They'll have it for certain special occasions, or like on there she says, you know, if you have guests over, it's kind of something you make that's special. But I think it sounds so delicious.
Are those pine nuts?
I think it's ice. Is it pine nuts? It is pine nuts. You're right. It's not ice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I love like the warm flavors because usually when we think of like cold drinks, you don't think warm flavors, but like cinnamon, ginger, coconut sugar, like it just sounds so good.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was really fun to put together this menu because I'm Asian American. She was born in Korea, but moved here. But we've had to I was talking to Haley about this last night. We've had to hold our cultures really close to our chest because we've often been hounded for them or, you know, hazed for our cultures. And so growing up in places where people don't really look like you or talk like you or worship like you or whatever it is, like it's been challenging for both of us growing up in the places that we have. And so getting to collaborate with each other on a menu that actually celebrates our heritage, like putting it on full blast like this, it was really fun to do together.
It's beautiful. I love learning all this too about all the culture. I just, it's fabulous. So
thank you. This was so much fun to do with all of you. It's just been such a joy. We loved getting to work with you. We loved getting to see how people just kind of took this and made it their own with such little direction from us, and seeing how engaged all of you were. It's so inspiring for us, like as a very small FoodSocial team. It's just nice to know that there are people who believe in what we're doing, who are along for the ride with us, who are just all about this with us, and seeing people who love food, who love community, who mean what they say and are just as engaged as we are in this is really special.
It makes me want to do an in-person one of these.
I know. I was just
Wouldn't
thinking
that be awesome?
we need to somehow do that. Can you imagine? We'd have to purge.
I had to multitask a little bit, so I turned my camera off. I had to keep walking back in because I was listening to the recipes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to look at that. So just amazing recipes. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, I personally just loved hearing all the stories behind the recipes. It gives them so much more context, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. Everybody thought so much about like what they wanted to share and why they wanted to share it, and I think that was just that was my favorite. Doing this was my favorite part of the whole thing, was just hearing what everybody thought about their recipes. So thank you all for being so thoughtful with your participation. And I hope you all want to do this again too, because I think this is maybe the start of something that we do more frequently, and I'd love to, you know, mix it up with different groups moving forward. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. Really, really fun.
Well, go forth and enjoy your weekends. Thank you so much for this. Michelle, good luck.
Thanks for organizing everything, Pooja and Haley and Bill. I know it's been a lot of work behind the scenes that we can't even comprehend. So
you all make it easy.
And thank you
was
so
great.
much for giving us a platform to show our dishes. It's been amazing connecting with some amazing people.
Yes.
And to be part of this group is amazing. Thank you for the platform.
Definitely.
Thank you all so much. These recipes are so amazing, and it was just so much fun. Like, you know, Food Social has been so much about collaborating with each other, right? You know, connecting with each other and collaborating, and it's
Yeah.
it's really nice to get together and talk about our recipes with each other in a more intimate way.
Definitely.
Yes, this is great.
Yeah, it's like a book.
Yeah.
But we all read different books, so.
But everyone did the assignment.
So many of all these recipes I want to try.
Yeah,
Here.
it really makes me want. Yeah, fairy. That's